Let's look at the pages. Now, WordPress is basically a collection of many pages on a website. You can go over each one of these and edit, or can create a new one. Let's create a new one. In this case, we're just going to call it About, and we're going to use the classic mode, which is the basic WordPress mode. Now, I can, in this case, create a document or a page using basically traditional editing tools that is presented to me here, almost resembling any type of editing tool like a Word document. Now I can take a word or a whole paragraph and create a link, or maybe right justify or center it or left justify, or change any of the colors or fonts, which is not very recommended to change colors and fonts as much, and you would like the consistency of the website to be dictated by the general look and feel of the website. So you don't want to make too many different changes or different fonts throughout the website. But if you wanted to, you could. Now let's look at links. As I said, you can take a word or take the whole paragraph and make it a link. At this point, you can easily add the link right here and apply. But you should always make sure that you click on link options to make different kind of options available to you. Like, for example, if it were a PDF that I put the URL right here, I could open it in a new tab. Or for example, if I wanted to look for content on a website and link it to that person or to that content, in this case is a person, I can just click that content area and or content link, and that URL appears automatically here on my URL window. If it is obviously an internal or a link to another content area within your website, you don't want to open in a new tab. So you want to use this only when it's a PDF or an outside link. You can also add media items into your content. By clicking on Add Media Items, you can even drag and drop a new media right here at this point. So let's click on something and insert it into our text. I can make this to be left justified, right justified, or make it bigger or smaller. Depends on whatever I want to do. Let's just save a draft and see what it looks like. At this point, it's okay, but I would like to make it a lot more interesting, or use some other tools to make spaces of above or below, or add some other interesting features to the site. In order to do that, I can turn my backend editor, which is basically our WPBakery, which comes installed with your website. As you see, as soon as I turn on the backend editor or WPBakery, it creates that bar. It adds that bar on top, and it creates a row for me with the text inside. Now, let's explain what that is. If I didn't have anything yet on my page and I started to use WPBakery, This is the interface I would get. Everything with WPBakery would start with a row. Even if I didn't have a row and I wanted to add a text box, what it does is it creates that text box element and it puts it in a row. Let's look at a row. A row can be a whole full row to my page or full width of my page, or I can divide it into different columns, like half and half, to like half of my page one column and the other half another column. I can have 2/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and so forth and so on. Basically, any subset of 12 columns is allowed. All these are presets, or you can either even click on custom and add it yourself. If, for example, I added 1/3 here, it will add a 1/3 row below my 4/4. That's allowed, but it's very confusing. You should not let this be more than a 1. Make sure that it's always add up to a 1. There are cases that you would like to create a custom column sizes, but most of the time you're going to be spending here creating different predefined column settings. Now, if you have a 2/3, 1/3, and I want to have 1/3, 2/3, I can literally move that 1/3 to the left side. Now, if I click on custom, it will tell me exactly that, 1/3, 2/3. Each one of these columns have a pencil, well, a paste, and also I can remove that column if I want to. Let's look at the pencil and what it does. Once I click on the pencil, it allows me to edit the settings for that column. There are a lot of settings for that columns right here. And if you want to know a little bit more about what each one of these fields are, you just hover over these icons with an eye inside for information. There are some design options such as margin, borders, paddings, background colors, and border colors, and background images even. You can also have some responsive options. Responsive means that it knows how to confirm itself into different devices, such as a tablet or a phone, or a desktop or a laptop. In here, you can change offsets and width and even hide different columns for different devices if it is just decorative. You can do the same thing with the whole row if you want to. There is a pencil for editing the settings there too. Design options allows you to change margins, borders, paddings, and all those settings like a column as well. So let's dive into this. Now I can add things by clicking on the plus sign. All these elements are available to me. Let's start with the text box. Here I can add some text into my text box. The interface is very similar to the one that we just saw a few minutes ago. On the left side, I can use another element. Let's, for this one, use an image. I'm going to choose an image from my media library and use full to make sure that that image fills my column. I can save the draft and examine what I just created. Now I can duplicate any of these items that I have by clicking on duplicate right here. I can move an item to the left side, to the left column from one column, the right column, or move from the left column to the right column. If I want to, I can also duplicate the whole row. Or I can move the whole row up or down if I want to. Finally, I can delete any of these items, or I can delete the whole row. This is basically the way to manage or change your page. You can now click on classic mode, but you will notice that there is a whole bunch of shortcuts added to your text. Once you're in a WPBakery mode, you do not want to edit it using classic mode anymore.